no! Oh no! 4 months ago, I bought this beat up, rundown Sur-Ron Light BX. Near enough every part of this bike needed replacing, so I set about changing the front and rear suspension, the wheels, the plastic, the brakes. I stripped and painted the framework, upgraded the controller, replaced the handlebars, changed the sprocket and chain, literally every single component on this bike. And as you can see here, it's completely transformed. The bike was looking exactly how I wanted it. This was my dream supermoto Sur-Ron. Until this happened. Fucking shit. Fuck's sake. I fucking knew this would happen. So what happened there was the fact that I bought this bike second hand. As you saw, it was in really bad shape. So one of the biggest things that I wanted to do to this is make sure that it's mechanically sound. So I went through all the bearings, all the bolts, all the main components, but the one thing that I left out was the motor. I did have a little inkling in the back of my mind to think, do I go ahead and change that hall sensor? But I was so excited to go ahead and order new parts for this bike. I just wanted to get them fitted and get out riding. Now, if you've seen the previous video of when I bought the bike, you could see the condition of the motor, and it should have been a telltale sign that things weren't going to be good. But once all the new parts were on the bike and I got out riding, I found that as soon as I pinned the throttle, it almost sounded like the motor was slipping. A couple of the other signs were the fact that the motor was getting up to temperature so quickly. And then after a bit of time of riding, I started to get some error messages coming up on the display of the controller. So I had two options here. One, do I go ahead and buy a new motor? Or two, do I look at changing the hall sensor on this thing just to see if I can get a little bit more life out of this motor? So I went for the second option. Obviously it's a lot cheaper. I paid around £50 for a new hall sensor. I'll be honest, I've taken every part of this bike apart. I know it inside out. The motor is one thing that I've never really messed around with. So as you can imagine, I was really skeptical about doing this. I didn't think it was going to work. But the other option was spending between £800 and £1,000 for a new motor. I thought I'd give this a go first, and this is how I got on. So first off, I just undone the 3 Phillips screws on the face of the motor. I then had to knock the faceplate off with a flathead screwdriver and a hammer. This is only because I've painted the motor, so it's super hard to get off, but I'm going to have to repaint this at some point anyway. I then cut the hall sensor cable, ready to remove it, and then undone the 3 Phillips screws holding the hall sensor to the motor. I then used a soldering iron just to remove the remaining cables. This just melted the solder so that I could remove these easily. And there we are, that's the old hall sensor out. Next up, to put the new hall sensor in, I just taped up the cables. This just made it a lot easier to be able to feed the cables through the hole in the side of the motor. I then soldered the cables onto the new hall sensor. I then secured the new hall sensor back onto the motor, just making sure that the screws are dead center. I then positioned the gasket back into place, popped the cover back on, and then secured it with the 3 Phillips screws. And last of all we need to do is put the cables into the new plug so that it can connect back to the bike. This is the bit that I thought was going to be the hardest. It actually turned out to be the easiest bit. All I've done was kept hold of the old plug just so I can see the pattern of which way they went in. But yeah, really easy. You just push until you hear the click, and that's it. Job done. Okay, so let's see if this new hall sensor has worked, whether it's worth the 50 quid, or am I going to have to pay out for a brand new motor. So far, absolutely fine. The thing is, it was absolutely fine before. It's when I absolutely pinned the throttle that I had the issues. So we're going to go out on a couple of the back roads today, just because it's going to be a little bit quieter and we can pick up a little bit more speed as well. Hopefully you can still hear me in the microphone. We've gone back to the old school POV view on the GoPro. I do love the Insta360, but there's just something about footage of watching from the rider's point of view. So you tell me in the comments, what do you prefer? Do you prefer seeing me actually as the rider, or exactly what I'm seeing? So a couple of other things to mention as well. I've got the VTB V9 600 installed, and last night they came out with a new update, so I thought I'd go ahead and do the update now. What I have noticed is given me a whole different range of power modes now, and I'm currently in boost, which I guess is going to be the highest power range. Couple of other little things we've done as well, we've installed a front mud guard, because every time I took this thing out I was just getting absolutely caked in mud. It was a nightmare, so we'll take a little closer look at that later on in the video, but let's get ready to see if this thing has actually worked. Let's pin it. Oh, wheel up, yes! There's no slipping, and hopefully you can still hear me. This thing absolutely rips! Whoa. Oh my days. From a mid-range acceleration, it's worked an absolute treat. Let's see what happens from low range. This is where I had the main issues last time. Yeah. Oh no. Something still didn't sound good. No! Oh no! Oh dear! She's not happy. Oh no! Oh no! You know what that means? Oh. New motor time. Yeah, that's not good. Oh dear. Let's tone the power modes down a little bit. Oh no. I've got absolute no drive there whatsoever. We literally sound like a freight train. I think that's the motor completely done. It sounds absolutely awful. It was going so well. It was so fast. It was working exactly how it should be. And now I've got nothing. Let's see if the regen, oh God. Oh, the regen literally sounds like it's just tearing the motor apart. Oh. So you know what that means then? Unfortunately, it is time to upgrade the motor. Even now, just coasting along, it literally sounds like it's chugging like a train. We're so close with this bike, we are so close. It looked absolutely sick, and when it's working, it is the fastest thing I've ever ridden. It's just perfect. But the motor, I don't know if it's the VTB, the power that it was putting through, that it just couldn't handle it. I mean, when I did buy the motor, it was in an absolute shocking state. I physically had to scrape with a scraper the corroded metal and paint from the surface of it. Oh. Oh dear, dear, dear. I don't know whether it's worth me taking this apart just to see if the motor and the soldering's still okay in there. I can't see why it wouldn't be. I've driven literally less than a quarter of a mile. So I guess the next question is, what motor do we go for? Well, this is going to be a long walk home. The other really disappointing thing about this is I've actually got all the registration documents back now to legally ride this on the road. And just to note for all the Karens in the comments, these are private roads, which I am legally allowed to ride on because I do have the permission. But yeah, registration documents are all back ready to go. I was literally just about to book it in for MOT, and we've got the insurance sorted as well. So yeah, massively disappointing that is. I guess the only thing I could do is take the motor out of the other Sur-Ron, pop it onto this to get it through the MOT, whilst we're waiting for the new motor to arrive. Oh man, I'm absolutely gutted. So I guess I'm going to finish the video there then, guys. Not the way I wanted to finish a video. It was looking so promising earlier on, but it is what it is. The risk of buying a second-hand Sur-Ron, I guess. But yeah, pop in the comments, what motor do you think I should upgrade to? Well, sorry that was a short and sweet one, but as always, thank you ever so much for watching. If you've enjoyed it, actually, don't even worry about it. It wasn't really that entertaining, was it? Apart from me just absolutely trashing the bike. So, but if you could give the video a thumbs up, it massively helps my channel and I really do appreciate it. And if you haven't done already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Future content with a brand new motor coming on the road, legal Sur-Rons. And I will see you in the next one. Take it easy.